So hi, everybody. Welcome to Kadima Real Estate Education, and welcome to our very first session of the pre-licensing principles and practices. This is our 60-hour class. For those of you that are either interested in getting a real estate license and starting a real estate career, whether it be in sales or administration, mortgage, finance, home inspection, property development, property management, or you're just here because you want to learn about real estate. We pride ourselves in being very hands-on. I teach from the perspective that you're going to go out and sell, but that's not always the case for everybody. And we really do try to sort of inspire you to put yourself in the position of being out there, right? I teach this class with the mindset that you shouldn't just learn this information to go pass a test, right? The whole idea of this class, obviously, is to prepare you to go on and take the state licensing exam. You have to pass this class with a 70% or better so that you can then go on and apply for your real estate license and take the state exam. And I have heard in the 23 years that I've been in this business, you take the class and then you forget everything that you've learned. Well, I am not here to teach you things that you are going to forget, right? That's not why I'm here. I want you to remember everything I teach you. And so my purpose going forward with you from this point is that I want you to remember, and I want you to be able to hear my voice and think about the situations that we're going to talk about. And think of this as sort of the anatomy and physiology of real estate. It doesn't translate the same way, but every single thing that you are going to learn in this class absolutely applies to every aspect of what you're going to do out there in real estate. So I hope you enjoy the class, and let's get started. Okay. All right. So I've already done an introduction for the class. So for those of you that are here in the classroom, I just want to welcome you, right? So here's how this is going to work. Today, obviously, is our first day. So I like to use this time for us to get to know each other. Think of it as a networking session for us. This is your chance to network with each other. I kind of want to get an idea of why you're here, right? Why this class? Why real estate? Why now? I've been doing this. I've been doing real estate myself for 23 years, and I've been teaching real estate since 2010. And then I've owned the school since 2015. So I always ask that question, why real estate? Why now? And it's interesting because the market has changed so many times and so frequently that answer is different for everybody at every time. So this is going to be our chance to just kind of get to know each other. And I want to hear like what your goals are. People take this class for different reasons, right? Some people take this class because they want to sell real estate. Some people take this class just for the information, right? I've had a lot of students that take this class because they've had an experience with a family member who has bought or sold and had a good experience or not a good experience. And they just felt like they really wanted to know what happened. Like they really just want to know, like they felt like, there was a language barrier and they wanted to learn so that the next time they could help their family navigate through the buying and selling process. And this was an eye-opener for them. So that's a student. Maybe they want to take the class because they want to assist somebody, right? So there's a lot of reasons. The course itself is, of course, the pre-licensing class that's required for you to get your real estate license. So I teach it from the angle that you're going to go out there and sell real estate, right? So while it's not my responsibility to teach you how to sell, right? This is more of like the anatomy and physiology of real estate. Like if you were in med school, you'd have to learn all about the bones of the body. This is the bones of real estate. Okay. The language you're going to find in these books is, the technical terms. We don't talk like this out in the real world, right? So I'm going to translate it for you into the language that you would use in the real world, even though you have to know what's in the book to pass the test, right? But what I want for you is that when you leave here, you have the practical knowledge so that it translates into the real world for you to be able to use it forever in your practice, right? I have heard for years, and I heard it when I took the class, all you got to do is take the class, just memorize it, pass the test, and forget everything you ever learned in P&P. And I have to say that my experience when I took the real estate class felt just like that. I felt like I could have read the book, taken the tests at the back, memorized it, and gone and taken the test. Like I felt like I didn't learn anything from my instructor.
Right, 'cause you're not actually in a real estate agency. You're not.
I would ask questions, and it was a PowerPoint presentation, and I felt like that's not how I wanted to learn. And I knew nothing when I came out. And then my broker, who happened to be the guy that runs the team next door, was my very first broker, wasn't a teacher. He was a broker. He was a great agent, but not a teacher, right? So then you come out of the class and you're not necessarily being trained by somebody that's a good trainer, right? Like think about that. So many agents get their licenses and then they go out. Not everybody's a good teacher. Not everybody, just inherently, they're just not. They can do what they do really, really well, but that doesn't mean they know how to explain how to do it, right? So I decided when I started teaching this class, that is not the way I'm going to teach it. I'm going to teach it so that the common sense of selling, the common sense of best practices, and translating where this all fits. It fits everywhere in the real estate practice. I want to make sure that you guys know that. So you walk out of here feeling like you got a really good education, and wherever you land with whatever broker you end up with, if that's what you decide to do, if you decide that you want to sell, if you decide that you want to assist somebody, if you decide that you want to help a family member, they're going to be like, wow, you know something, right? And then my ego gets to go, yes, they do, because I taught them that. And you will hear me say throughout this class many times, I'm going to tell this to you. Now, you may forget it, and that's okay. That's okay, because I don't expect our brains to absorb absolutely everything. But I want you to remember that I did tell you. You may not remember the details, but I'm going to be like, if anybody ever says, Heather never showed me that, Heather never showed me the lead form, Heather never told me about this, I will call you out on that, because I tell everybody everything always the same way. Okay? So that's the way this class is going to be taught. I want you to ask questions, right? Now, on the same note, my job is to get you through the test. Okay? So I know to some degree what's on it, but I don't, right? If that's the path that you're taking, I don't know what questions are there. But what I do is I pick the brains of my students that have gone and taken it. And then I say, tell me what was on the test, what wasn't on the test. So I know what I need to lean into, and what I don't, right? I just, this last class, took all the math questions off of it. I used to have a ton of math because I wanted you guys to know it. And they're like, there's hardly any math. And I'm like, you know what? Thank goodness, because I'm not a math teacher. And I don't want to turn this into a math class, right? I want you to know how to calculate your commissions, and there's certain things I want you to be able to calculate because we do it all the time, right? I sit here with my students, I sit here with my team, and there's certain things that I calculate with them and they go, I remember this from class. I'm like, good, you should, because we do this all the time, right? So those are going to be the things that we lean heavily on. There's going to be other things that we're going to talk about that you guys are going to be like, let's get into a deep conversation about this. And I might roll my eyes because I'm a Pisces and I can't hide my emotions from my face, right? I'm going to be like, okay, this is not going to be on the test, but if you want to talk about it, we will give it some time because it's a good conversation to have, but really, I don't know where you're going to come across this. Okay. And I'm just going to be really super honest with you. Now, there's going to be some stuff we need to know. It's mostly going to be handled by the attorneys, right? Most of it's going to be handled by the attorneys, but it's good for us to know that these are situations that are going to come up and why they're going to come up so that we can sort of navigate. Again, real estate is a relationship business. And it's about us being able to be a resource to the people in the lives that we are helping buy or sell a home. And the more we know, the more of a resource we can be to them, right? Because it's their money, it's their lives. Buying and selling a house is one of the top 5 psychological stressors in somebody's life. And the other stressors are, you know, pretty major, right? Getting married, getting divorced, having a child, death of a child, buying and selling a house. Big, huge, huge events for somebody, right? We're going to help them do that. We don't want to get on the roller coaster with them. We're the roller coaster operator, right? We're the roller coaster operator. We know it's going to come back down and we know it's going to go up, but we're not supposed to be on it with them going, right? Feels like we are sometimes, but we aren't supposed to get on the ride with them. So the more we know and the more we can anticipate what might be going on behind the scenes, the better. And that's what's in these books. Okay. All right. So we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff and you're gonna be like, oh my God. The other thing I want you to know is that, you know, the industry has gone through a lot of shakeups, right? A lot of shakeups. You sitting here in this class is a big deal. What we do is a big deal. It's a big deal. People think that they can just go online and go on Zillow and go on realtor.com and sell their houses on their own or find a house on their own. I don't need a realtor. Oh yeah? Read the book. You will come out with a whole new respect and appreciation. I wish everybody knew what we had to know and what is in our brains. And I will tell you, and there's a lot of realtors out there that give us a bad name, right? I don't want anybody that graduates from my class being one of those people, right? Because there's a reason why we have to have a license. There's a reason why, right? There's a reason why we have to have a license. There's a reason why we answer to the Department of Consumer Protection, right? And the real estate board. You know, the National Association of Realtors, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. But we are sworn to an oath, right? We're one of the only professions outside of doctors and lawyers that have to swear an oath to practice. Think about that. And guess what? We do it without a paycheck. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so it's a big deal. So don't let anybody ever minimize what it is that we do when you get out there and do it. Okay, because mindset is a big part of doing this job. All right. Okay, I do a lot of pep talks. I'm just lots and lots and lots of pep talks. Okay, so for starters, I want to know, so here's what we're going to do. I want to hear why you're here. right? What your reason is. There is no wrong answer. I used to jokingly say to people, all right, if you tell me I like pretty houses and I watch HGTV and I'm good with people, I would be like, all right, you gotta go. But I'm not gonna kick anybody out of the class. Because just recently I started watching $1 Million Listings LA and I love those guys so much. So I can't complain about people watching HGTV. But I just want to know, I'm just curious, like where this fits into your life. Then I am going to give you the down and dirty about what you're getting into. Okay. And sort of the financials, essentially, of like what you need to do to get started in real estate. Okay. Just so you know, before we even start teaching. Today, we'll probably get out of here a little bit before 12. Okay, just so you know. And there may be days where we might wrap up a little early. I promise you, you will get all 60 hours in. I build extra hours into the class. So when you guys look at, when I say we're here for like 20 weeks or whatever, it's because I give you, I account for, I know how I lecture. I know how the topics fall. I know how the chapters read, and there is an appropriate time to end. And sometimes it means that this class is going to go, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours on one day, and we're going to use the full 3 hours on another day, but we make up for it because your brains just can't shift from one topic to another. It just doesn't flow. So I need you to trust me. I'm going to get you all 60 hours. Right? But it also means you may get out of here a little bit early. Okay, but I'm keeping track. So I promise I'm going to make sure you get your money's worth, and I'm going to make sure that you get all your information, but it also means maybe on a really nice day, that might be the day that we're ready. Okay? Okay. So let us start. And so, here's the other thing. If I talk too fast, if you are not sure what I'm talking about, tell me, say slow down. What does that mean? What is that word? I'm going to be using the ebook, which I'm going to pull up on the screen in a little while. I'm going to show you that. You guys have the physical book. It's the same information, but to make it visual, I use the ebook. If there's anything you don't get, please, you're paying me. Okay? If you don't get something, you need to ask me to explain it, translate it, whatever you need. Okay? I have had many, many students take my class where English was their second language. And they took this class so they could help their families. So I want you to be able to do that. So if you don't understand something, let me know. I can figure out a way to break it down in an easier way. Okay. All right. So for starters, I am going to turn the camera around so Des can see everybody. So can we start with Selena? Selena, can we start with you and say, like, why are you here? Where are you? Do we have, I don't know if I can see you. Oh, maybe not. Is it too far? Oh, I got the background on. Hold on. Woo. Gee whiz. Oh. I leaned on my computer and I did all kinds of things. Hold on, let me turn off my background. Background off. Background. Turn it off. Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, look, there's the plan. Okay.
One at a time.
Yes. All right. So Selena, what brings you to us?
So I actually have a pretty good amount of investors as friends in my family,
Okay.
and I bought a house in 2020. And during that, there was a lot of work and information, and then from that, I just like started getting interested.
So you bought when things were going cuckoo bananas.
Yeah.
Were you in a
But-
multiple offer situation? Or
No,
was it
so-
before, right before?
No, so it was, do you know, are you familiar with, to ED Rotary Waterford?
Yeah.
That's me next.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So, yeah,
okay,
it was a lot.
okay. Yeah, okay, what a project,
Later, like septic.
Yeah.
Just,
everything.
yeah, everything.
So you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You could be a home inspector. We're gonna talk about lots of home inspection stuff. Right, so you had to replace, yeah, you would replace the septic, right?
And we like teared the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Just built from scratch.
And you, so you learned a whole lot about, working with the building department and permits.
Everything.
How was Waterford?
Husband did most of it, but we've been living there. It took about like 2-3 years. We just moved in.
Okay, so you
4
weren't
months
living,
ago.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, no, we're new to Waterford. We
Okay.
came from, Massachusetts.
Okay. Great. Well, maybe what we'll do is I'll pull up the before pictures, what the house looked like when you bought it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, well, you guys are gonna get to see the MLS. I do the MLS a lot, cause I also want you to understand the market. We talk about the market a lot, so you will be pretty familiar with the MLS. We play in it a lot, cause I can't stay away from it. So, yeah, we'll pull it up, and then maybe you can share some after photos. That'll be cool. Okay, awesome. I'm so glad you're here, so you can talk about home renovations with us. All right, Brittany, let me see if I can find you. There we go. Yes, I want you to go. First of all, are you okay?
I'm better.
Okay,
I
are you,
don't need bubbly outgoing versus so first impressions, but
no, I was gonna ask, but I
I'm
didn't
not the
wanna,
same. So maybe I'll get better, well, I feel better. But
okay,
anyways, my name is Brittany. I graduated college and high school here. I moved to Atlanta and I just got.
okay.
So, well, I went to college for project management, so I'm actually a construction manager. That's my title, that's my.
Construction, what kind of construction?
I started in commercial, but I wanted to build houses because that's what I wanted to do, so I went into residential, so I build residential houses.
Do you see my jaw hanging open? Like, I love you. I
Like,
love
I've
you.
been working in this real estate license thing forever, but I'm not a good tester. So in Atlanta, I took that test like 9 times. I'm not even kidding. I
I'm
spent
gonna get you through it. Girl, I'm
trying to
gonna
get
get
that
through it.
license, and I'm just not a good tester. Like, I could read, write, I did college, you know? It's just something about the verbiage questions that kind of just throw me, and I just, panic.
It's because they trick you. They're trick questions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach you how to decode it. I'm gonna, it's multiple choice. Multiple choice is the worst.
Yes.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're the worst.
So that's, my story. I moved back here for family. I had a baby 6 months ago. That might be what's wrong with me. I don't know.
Okay, anything you need. So listen, we're a family here. We're gonna, listen, I always think of this as we're all surviving. You guys have to listen to me for 60 hours. We gotta get tight because, like by the end of this, we're all gonna be a big family, so.
And
If
I
you need
will
anything.
come out. Usually like a super outgoing person, funny, like I like next questions. Like I had a question, like I wanna know if we get worksheets or like, practice tests throughout the course, just so I can get better with verbiage.
I'm gonna give you a study guide.
Okay.
Not everybody likes the study guide, but I'll give you one. I'll help you.
Well, that helps, because like I said, those questions are tricky. And when
Yep.
you get used to seeing questions like that, it helps you.
Yep.
In your mind.
Oh, yeah.
But,
You'll leave here today with a study guide. Awesome. Okay, you feeling better though?
yes.
Okay, I know, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but. Okay, all right, and Miss Tula. Oh, let's see if I can get you. Don't fall off. I know. Okay, I gotta, where is she?
Here.
There she is. Des, you getting everybody? All right, there's Tula. Can you see her? Oh, she's hiding. Wait, here, let me,
Well,
wait, here, let me, oh, wait. Oh, there
Yes.
she is. I got
you all. My background, I have my bachelor's in corporate video communication.
her. Ooh.
Which was, a really long time ago. I don't know if any of you were even born by the time I had my degree. But, anyway, yeah, I graduated, it was 1984. But, you know, I lived in Florida for a long time. I lived in Colorado. I grew up in New England. My family is from here originally. And my family was always involved in real estate. My dad had his real estate license. My sister, has a real estate agency here in this area. It's called Buena Vista Real Estate. She's been in real estate. She's a broker. She's been in real estate probably, I'd say 40 years, over 40 years now. And for the last 10 years, I've been working at Electric Boat, where I do administrative work. You know, good steady job, good steady paycheck, you know, benefits, the whole 9 yards. But, what I'm looking for now is to, just to change, you know, I want to change, and it's something that I could, you know, help my sister with. If I could get my license, and I'm not like totally green to what goes on in real estate.
Yeah.
When I was really young, I used to literally help my dad like collect rents because he had income property. And I'd go around with him, you know, like we physically like collect rent money. But, I'm also thinking, I'm not sure if I would ever be a full-time agent. I might just be a part-time agent. And also, I was thinking that if I moved out of state, like if I moved to Florida or something, back to Florida, another good friend of mine, she's in real estate. She's already, you know, I told her, I said, oh, I'm starting a real estate class. She's like, oh, great, then you can come to Florida. She goes, I'll teach you everything you know about real estate, and you can. I'm like, whoa, I haven't even started the class yet. Like, you know, one thing at a time. And also, I mean, sometimes I have to see, do I like this? Will I really like this? I
Mhm.
mean, I think I will. I've done some sales, you know, in my background too, not real
Right.
estate sales, but, you know, other type of sales. But anyways, and I also know that as for like a, you know, a woman of my age, real estate is a good profession for this age range. You know, for women, just say a more mature age, you know, not a millennial age. So I'm excited that way.
Good. I'm glad you're here, and I love your sister.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
yeah, she's been around a long time,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah, she
there's
has.
always like certain names in the industry that, like, as new agent, you know, 23 years ago, you know, she was one of those agents that you
Yeah.
just sort of, you know, you would see out there and look up to, and, you know, she's still going strong, so
Yeah.
good for her. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, Miss Des. So I know why you're here, but you need to tell
Yeah.
everybody else why you're here. Okay, now I have to like see if I can get myself back. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Okay.
okay, you go ahead, Des.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Desiree. I'm from Peru. I'm just being here for 4 years, so I'm still learning English. Um, I'm taking this class because my husband, he is a realtor and work with Bill Heenan team. And I want to support him. And I want to learn all the things possible about real estate. We have like a goal that we would like to build our business in the future. So I would like to support him. I would like to learn. Also, every time that he talks, and because he likes to talk. uh, every
does.
well, every time that he talks and he talks about real estate, I can feel inside me a little an emotion. So I feel something like, for me is I would like to learn that, you know, and I would like to learn more, and I want to do it for myself too. I would like to have a career here. So if I want to start now, and then maybe in the future I can learn more English and I can be a real estate agent by myself. So I want to do it for me. I want to do it for my family too. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, first of all, so I'm so glad you're taking this class.
Thank you.
So just to, I gotta move this because it just throws me off by being there. Okay. So, ooh, that's a bad angle. Sorry, guys. I know this recording is gonna be terrible. This is why I need Tisha, because Tisha keeps me like way more organized. So Dez's husband is, he's been in business for 1 year. He's part of our team. And he sold 24 houses last year.
Wow. That's a-
Yeah,
He's on a roll.
he's amazing. He just got the email 2 days ago from our board that he's been nominated for the Rookie of the Year, which normally the requirement is you have to have been in the business for 18 months to 2 years, but he hit the criteria in 12 months. So fingers crossed for him.
Yeah.
We're very, very proud of him. And I will tell you, Des, that so one of the things I have personally been pushing for with the state of Connecticut for a long time, because I've been teaching this class in New London for a long time, and also through the Hamden Adult Education, is so our contracts come in Spanish, but our textbooks don't.
Mhm.
And so I've been really pushing for that translation. But it's interesting because last week, one of my students who took my class wants to join our team. And her primary language is Spanish. And she wants to be able to work with, with clients. And one of the things about this business, and I don't know. I know I'm recording myself, so, but diversity in this business, right? Like fair housing is going to be one of the first sections that we're going to cover. And it talks about, in fair housing, everybody is entitled to a home, to a domicile. And if we can't communicate with people, it makes it difficult for us to do our jobs. And it makes it difficult for them to make an educated decision. And when we learn about fiduciary, right? When we learn about fiduciary, regardless of what your politics are, we swear an oath to fiduciary that says that we have to make sure that we are working with our clients and giving them care. And if they don't understand us, then we are not doing our fiduciary, right? So I feel like having more agents available that can help, I mean, when it doesn't matter what the language is. It doesn't even have to be language, right? I feel like there's always some barrier at some point. It's our job to help people understand, like, listen, sometimes I'm just plain slow, right? If I don't get something, I need someone to break it down for me, make it easy for me to understand. Don't just stick a contract in my face, right? People take advantage of the elderly, like our job in this business, whether it's language or age or whatever, if we're going to help people find homes and sell homes, our job's always going to be to make it as understandable as possible. So, yeah. So Des, I think I'm just grateful that you're here and that you're going to help Chris, and we'll make sure that, again, if there's anything you need help with, you let me know.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. So now what I am going to do, Des, can you still see my screen or doing, okay, can you see why real estate?
Yes.
Okay, so this is usually, this is usually where I try to talk you guys out of the class.
Okay.
I do. This is usually my, and actually I'm gonna close that out. I'm gonna go into it a different way and I'm gonna go into it as present. And I usually do this, I don't want it like that. I want to go full screen. There we go. Okay. I do this because, oh, do you not see it now, Des?
No, right now.
Okay. Yep, hold on. There we go. Now you see it?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. When I get big classes and I get a lot of people in here and I get those people that say, I watch HGTV and it just looks so easy and fun. Or I get the people that come in and they want to make a quick buck, right? So after, or during the pandemic, our classes got big, really big, because the flood of demand to buy was huge, huge, right? And quite honestly, you just needed to be able to fill out a contract to sell a house, right? It wasn't selling everywhere. They came from they came from
Because in Atlanta, I experienced the same thing, but
Yeah.
all these people didn't have jobs.
Yeah, but it was crazy. I mean, it was an insane market. But of course, everybody wanted to get in on it, right? I mean, we have, and I'll tell you what's happening now, but so we had 5 years ago, my classes were so full of agents. Those same agents did not renew their licenses this last go round, right? So I don't teach this class for the money to fill my seats. I teach it to educate, right? But I also want people to get into the real estate business for the right reasons. Now I know it sounds like most of you are not necessarily thinking about selling real estate, right? You're in it for other reasons. But if you are getting into it for selling, I think it's important for you to be educated about what that looks like. And so this is the, I'm going to talk you out of it speech, or at least make you fully aware of what you're getting into. Okay, because there's a lot of people that don't know this and aren't taught this in other schools. And then they get out and they're like, I had no idea. So this is the why real estate, everything you need to know before you get started. Okay, so let's get going. So before you can sell a house, what do you need to do?
Find a house.
Way before that, way before that. Before you can sell a house legally, before you can sell it.
Of your license.
Okay, and to get a license, you got to do what? Take the class. That's right. Yay! So you got to take this class, which you have already paid for, $575. You want me to wait, honey? I'll wait. Okay, we're gonna wait. We're gonna pause. Poor baby. Brittany's not feeling good.
Mm.
Hey, Des. Why don't we take a break? We're gonna take a quick break. Yeah, she's not feeling good. She got upset belly. All right, I'm gonna pause it. 15 minutes. There is. Let me take you through. Yeah, Des, we'll be back in 15.
Yeah, of course. No worry.
Bye. To the team. Oh, okay.
Oh, I
They said that
I
about.
work with them over 30 years, so I'm called. And I need to know if
Are you sick?
No, my boyfriend that over their baby, and I called, I need to know if my everybody.
Oh,
okay.
okay. Oh, okay, we're taking a 15-minute and then we'll do this. All right, that way I can hit my vape.
Oh, well. It's one of those days, sure.
It's all right, you'll see me, I just hit it all the time, so I try not to do it on camera now, but it's not terrible. So bad.
That's one of those. And it's like, I wake up, I hate him so much, and then he's just the sweetest person in the world. I don't know if I should hate him more, if I should be like, I'm crazy. Yeah, I don't have like this heap of emotion come over me, like, I don't know. It's just a lot of different things I've been dealing with for the past year, you know, like I don't know, to abuse my boyfriend to have a baby. You know, like I gave up this whole life that I lived to come live here. I feel like, you know, everything that I want is not necessarily here, but try to be optimistic about it. Then, you know, like when you have a baby, you kind of want to who you were back, you know, so I've been going to the gym, it's been tearing me up, you know.
How old's the baby?
She's 6 months, seriously 6 months, she's 6 and a half. Yeah, she's a love of my life, but it does change, you know, like,
That's great. Changes your body, changes your everything.
and it's just some things that you're not ready for. It's not that I'm not ready, because I'm 30 years old, so I'm ready, you know, I'm free, I have a job, you know, stuff, you know, so. It's just the other side of it, where it's just like, it's totally time consuming.
Oh, you can't keep by yourself.
No, it's like totally time consuming, then like you see a whole other side of your boyfriend, it's like, okay, I thought he was cool before. Not having a baby as a whole other place. You know, and it's like, you just try to accomplish all these things, not to mention how a crazy split ends, like I don't know that.
Oh,
It just all comes and just attacks you, and you're so scared, and you're just
yeah,
like
like
breaking
my
down.
hair, my skin, my body,
Right.
like, you ruined
Clothes
me.
don't fit, everything is just like, alright, I need to do something.
Okay, so turn around and look at the wall. Mindset. Okay, so those are affirmation prompts. I am. I will. I have. I can. I enjoy receiving. So I want you to think about I am beautiful. I
I said,
will.
I am capable, I will get through this.
Like those are, and you gotta do those every day. Right?
That's a good.
And you write, and you do all of that in the, as if it's already occurred, right? I am, I will, I have, I can, I enjoy receiving. When shit starts to get to you. Right? It's a mindset.
No, you're
shift.
absolutely right. I was trying to talk
Listen, the
myself out
brain
myself,
can
like,
only-
get out the pit, get out the pit.
You know what though? Remember this, your brain can only think one thought at a time. Only one. So replace it with a positive thought. Over and over and over and over. Pick a, it's like a totem, pick a positive totem. And when that negative thought comes in, shake and pick your totem.
Right, instead of saying, don't spill that bottle, you say, we're gonna keep that bottle upright. That's the positive way to say it, you know, never say don't, you know, instead of saying, my job sucks, go.
I love my job.
Yeah, I love my job. So eventually you'll move out of the wrong job and into the good job. Yeah, it's true, it's true.
It's called your reticular activating system. What you focus on expands. So, it's like if you said, I'm thinking about buying a new car, really, those Volkswagens are kind of cool. You know, thinking about buying a Volkswagen, and all of a sudden, everywhere you look, you see Volkswagens. It's
Yeah,
not that they miraculously appeared, it's just you weren't paying attention, and then they're all along. You just weren't focused on them. Now, all of a sudden, you're focused on them. Because you're paying attention. So put your attention on something positive and it will be in front of your face all the time.
If your focus is fitting into your clothes, I fit into my clothes. I fit into my clothes.
My size 6.
You know, that's a little partial.
I enjoy my size 6 jeans. I enjoy my size 6 jeans. I enjoy this. Like, oh, I love being size 6. I love being size 6. I love being size 6. So that what happens is when you reach for that candy bar, I love being size 6. Oh, this isn't part of being size 6. You move away from it. It's like you reprogram, your brain is just a computer. You just reprogram it.
Do you ever read any of the Louise Hay books? You know Louise Hay?
Mhm.
Yeah. All about positive affirmations and all like what you're talking about. It's fantastic though, it really is, but, you know, it's not easy.
Well,
It's not easy to
that's the
take
other
it.
part of what Kadima does is we do life coaching. So
Yeah.
my degree is in organizational psychology and coaching. So
Nice. I've never heard of your degree. Can you say it one more time, vernacular?
Oh, corporate video communication was
Corporate
my
video.
degree. I got my Bachelor of Science from Southern Connecticut State University.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was just going to
all right, okay. I think you are welcome. I don't know how long that was. Was that 15 minutes? Probably not. We got to get Des back. Des. All right. There she is. All right. We good? We're good. We needed a minute. Okay. All right. We are going to resume. We just needed a bonding moment, I think, right? I think we're good. We're good. All right. So you got to take this class. You got to pass it with a 70% or better, and you already paid the $575. So that's step one of getting your real estate license. So then, once you pass the class, then what? Then what happens? Can you sell a house? What do you need to do? Right. Yep. You have to apply for your license. And you have to pay for your application. Now, that application, and I'll share this with you later, there's something called a PSI booklet, which I used to just upload the template for you, but the best place for you to get all of this is you're going to go out to my website, which is kadimaeducation.com. And there's a tab that says how to get a real estate license. You're going to click on there, and all the links to the Department of Consumer Protection are there, including the application. Now, there's a fillable application there. That's not the one I want you guys to use, and I'll show it to you. There's the digital one. So when you pass my class, I'm going to email you a certificate of completion that you will upload to the site that goes with the application. Okay, so then you can schedule your test, and you're going to take the Connecticut real estate exam, and you have to pass that one with a 70% or better. Now, it's 2 portions. Okay, you got 2 books, right? So there's the national portion, which is the yellow book, and there's the state portion, which is the maroon book. Okay, now the test is about, because they've been changing the numbers, it's about 100 questions from the yellow book and about 30 questions from the state book. Okay, so I make my final the same so that you have the same number of questions.
So it's 130 or was it 110?
130, but it's in 2 parts. So it's a 70% on each one. So it's 2 tests, 70% on the 100 questions for the general or the national, and then 70% on the state. So you're taking, it's 2 separate tests. Okay, so what happens is
Take the test.
it's a 3-hour time test to take both of them. Okay, now If for some reason you don't pass one of them or both of them, but sometimes what happens is people pass one and not the other, you can retake it, okay? Now, the application itself is good for 1 year. Once you submit that application, it's good for 1 year. You can take the test anytime in that 1 year period. And you can take it as many times as you want to. My education from the time that you graduate from this class is good for 2 years. Okay, so if you don't apply, you have 2 years to apply and then take the test. But you're going to pass this test, you're going to pass my class, and then you're going to pass, you are going to pass. That's no. Mindset.
Your mindset.
I have passed. You passed. I passed. I'm passing. I passed. Okay. So you passed the test. Can you sell a house? Why not?
You need a job. You gotta have your, well, once you pass the test, you don't automatically just get your license, right?
What do you need to do?
Apply for a license.
Then hang over.
Hang with a broker.
Have to be yellow.
That's right. Right. You have to affiliate with a broker.
I have one question though.
Yeah.
The test here is only $59? I saw 59 in there.
Yeah.
It's
So
59 every time?
59, yeah, it's 59. And then it's like, it's on the, they keep changing it, but yeah, it's like $59 for both. And then it's like 56 to retake. Something like that.
Then I have one more question.
Yeah.
You mentioned that there's 2 tests and then some people will pass one part of the test. Do they say, okay, she passed the state portion and now she just has to take the national? They'll hold on to your 70 or they may give you the whole thing?
Nope, you only have to retake the part that you,
Failed?
yep. Yes, yep. All right, so once you've passed both, you leave PSI, which by the way, we have testing facilities all over the place. And I'm gonna pull the website up so you can see it. We'll do it after I go through this. Most people locally here go to the West Hartford location. It seems to be the easiest location to go to. It's a 3-hour. So when you leave there, you leave with 2 documents. The passing of your national portion and the passing of your state portion. Both of those, it has a picture of you. By the way, they take a picture of you when you go. I've never seen those pictures anywhere. It doesn't matter what you look like. So you don't need to do makeup and hair and whatever. It doesn't show up anywhere. Our licenses don't have our pictures on them. So it doesn't show up anywhere. But you get these 2 documents. You need those because you're going to affiliate with a broker. Your new broker is going to sign off on those documents. Okay? Those are then going to be sent to the state for your license. Okay? So what I would say is start thinking, got eyelash in my eye. Start thinking now about where you would like your license to go. And I want to park that thought for you. But if you're going to be selling, right? If you're going to be selling, think of your broker as your storefront, right? You're starting a business. You're going to have business cards. You're going to have signs. You're going to have a reputation, right? Who do you want to represent? And in turn, who do you want representing you? What do they have available to help you promote your business, help your clients, right? A lot of agents come into this business and it is very me, what's in it for me. I get it, but please don't forget what we sort of talked about at the very beginning about our job is to help people buy and sell houses, which is one of the top 5 stressful things to do in their lives. So in your business, what's going to provide you the best tools and resources to help those people? Okay, so be thinking about those things, okay? And also, you know, what do you think you're gonna need in terms of support and training? Right? And also remember what I said about just because somebody's a broker doesn't mean they're a good trainer. Right? They could be fantastic. They could have amazing numbers. They could have a beautiful, you know, great website. They could have all that stuff. But what kind of training are they going to offer? Right? So really sort of think about those things, knowing your personality, right? You could be very a self-starter. You could be very much like, I think I can get it. I think I'm good. Or you may be the kind of person that feels like, I really would like someone to hold my hand. I really would like someone to really talk me through things. And we all have different personalities. We all have different needs. There's no wrong way. So fit is going to be really important. So be thinking about things. All right. So now you've signed with your broker. So now what? Can you sell now? You got a broker.
You have a license, do you have a broker?
Yes, yeah. So you pay for your license. So our license now is, you pay for your license, it's $590. Our licenses are for 2 years. Okay. Now, the state of Connecticut doesn't prorate, so I just want you to be clear on that. So this class, you guys, you'll be paying for a license for 1 year and then renewing for 2 years. Because our licenses run on even years. So we're in 2025. 2026 is the renewal cycle for everybody else. So if you get your license in 2025, you're going to renew for 2 years in 2026. So no matter what, you're paying $590 for your first license. And then in May 31st, 2026, you'll renew again. Okay, so just so you know that it's not prorated.
I have
So,
a question, so how long are your results that I have to test, a year or 2 years, or? Like, how long do I have to apply for this license before, it's like you have to redo the whole process?
great question. So the reason we run on 2-year cycles is about education. Okay, so we all have to do continuing education, right? So for those of us that are already licensed, our renewal is in 2016. So that means those of us that are licensed have to complete our continuing education, which is 12 hours of continuing education. We have to complete our CE, is what we call it, by our renewal in 2016. I'm sorry, 2026. I'm off 10 years. Your education is good until 2026. This class counts as your education. So you have until 2026 to actually get the license. So you could wait if you wanted to. Once you pass the test, right? Once you pass your real estate test at the state level, you could sit on that until 2026 because your education is good for 2 years. So actually, yep, it's good for 2 years from the date of completion. So you got to watch your timing. So if we finish, yeah, you'll be right in a good spot because we're in April now. Yeah, you'll be in a perfect spot for 2 years if you waited. Okay, so you got your license. We do pay $20 one time in our new license that goes toward a guarantee fund. By the way, I do this little thing where I say to you, this will be on the test. This will be on the test. Okay, on mine and probably when you go to take the state exam on the state portion. They want to know that you know what you need to do to get your license and how much it costs. Kind of makes sense. Okay. All right. So you got your license. You paid for your license. Can you sell a house? Yep. You're with a broker. You got your license.
Yeah, we have to do some training, but.
You know how to. You know how to do the paperwork, right?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh,
No, it's like another fee you have to pay. I forgot the name of it though. You have to pay for the fee, but.
Oh, here we go, now more dudes.
Yes, 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 but is it called Connecticut Real Estate
So for us,
Commission?
we have to pay local, state, and national dues in order to have access to our multiple listing service.
Oh,
Okay, so, depending on where you live, right? And depending on your broker and what they use for their local board, right? There's several of them. Eastern Connecticut Association of Realtors, Greater Hartford Association of Realtors, New Haven Association, lots of associations of realtors. Then we all belong to the Connecticut Association of Realtors and the National Association of Realtors. Now, until you pay the National Association of Realtors, you are not a realtor, R-E-A-L-T-O-R, not realtor, realtor. You can have a real estate license and you can sell real estate, but you would only be a licensed salesperson. If you don't pay dues to NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and there are people that don't, you're not a realtor and you can't call yourself a realtor. It's a trademark for the National Association of Realtors. Okay? We only call ourselves realtors because we pay to call ourselves realtors. Okay? So for our first dues, they're typically about $1,000 regardless of what. It's like 900 and change. Because it's all combined in that. Local, state, national. It is prorated. So the good news is, depending on when you join, now here locally, and we're all local, so I can say like eCar, we pay our dues in January, right? So if you're joining mid-year, you're only going to pay 6 months.
Every year you have to pay?
Every year. But your very first, there's like a new member subscription. So your renewal isn't going to be that much. Your renewal is going to be a little like $150 or $200 less.
Is every state like that? Is every state have state dues and local? Or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's different in every state. Some states are much higher.
Okay.
Some states are a lot higher. And some are lower. So I belong to, so I am also licensed in Rhode Island. It works differently in Rhode Island.
Mhm.
So, it's different in every state.
So my last question on this,
Yes.
how much is it a year?
So
Every year we're paying the 1,000 plus the 560.
for the 5, so that's every 2 years. For the license is every 2 years. The dues is every year, and the dues are really, they're not going to be the full 1,000. That's just the first year because you're paying a first time fee, but they're going to be about $850 a year in January. Yep, that's every year. Okay, so you paid your dues. Can you sell a house?
Hope so.
This is, yep, so this is usually the time where everybody in the class is like, probably not, because she's asking the question. Now we're all ready to go throw up. I should put buckets next to the tables. Well, I mentioned something in this. I said, we have to pay this in order to have access to something.
Right, to the MLS,
Yeah.
right. Now you have to get your smart MLS. Oh, that you have, you have
Oh
to
my
pay for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we pay the MLS twice a year in April and October, $212.10. And that's also prorated. So
This
it,
is all great when you're making money though, like if you're a real estate agent and you're not making any money, this is very expensive.
welcome to my world. Well, so now when you walk around and you look at realtors, right? So again, remember what I said at the very beginning. What we know, what we do, what we put up with. And when people start saying, "Ugh, they make so much money." And we don't get paid until the deal closes.
Mhm.
But we put out and we put out and we put out. I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Can you sell a house? That's right. She's like, nope, she's not done yet.
No.
No, you cannot. Well, you can.
Well, then not to mention your LLC, and all that. Other-
You don't need to form an LLC.
You know?
No, you do not. All right. So, see why I say this is where I talk people out of taking the class? Because people think they're gonna come in and it's gonna be a big money grab. I'm just gonna take the class, go pass the test, and I'll make a lot of money. But you need to be all in for about $3,000 before you can even sell a house.
No wonder her husband was hustling and.
Yep,
Like, yeah.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So errors and omissions insurance, your broker is gonna charge that. It's gonna be depending on what broker you sign with. It's gonna range somewhere between $450 and $1,000 a year, depending on who the broker is. And it's gonna be $3,000. All right.
Well, then now,
Yeah, now that you're exhausted, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, no, I guess it's an investment. I think of it as an investment.
But there's other expenses than that, you know, you don't get a certification on gas and then. Spend talking to people.
Right. So where is your business gonna come from? So now you're ready. You're ready to go sell a house. Who are you gonna sell to? Who are you gonna? That's right. Yeah, it's gonna come from, these are gonna be terms that you're gonna see. COI, SOI. And what that stands for, it's the same thing. COI is circle of influence, or SOI, sphere of influence, means the same thing. Those are the people in your life. The people that know you, like you, and trust you. That's where the business is gonna come from. That's where it's gonna come from, right? If you get into this business thinking that your broker is just going to hand you a book of business, right? Depending. Now, I will tell you, depends, right? Like my brokerage model, our team is a very, very different team model. We're a training team. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars on leads to give to our agents. That is not the typical model. I know that because I was the top manager of the year many years in a row for a high brand luxury brand and recruited. I know what everybody's deal looks like. Leads are a gift, but it shouldn't be an expectation anywhere else, right? Your business is going to come from your COI or your SOI, right? So that means that as of today, when you leave here, if your intention is to sell, you need to let people know you're taking the class. You don't want to be a secret agent, right? Don't be a secret agent. Let people know. Share it on your social media. Listen, go out, follow my page. I purposely went out and I started a reel on the Kadima page, first day of class. Go out and like it and say, I'm in that class. Because your friends will be like, what, you're getting your license? That's awesome. Let me know, right? I want to buy, or my parents want to buy, or I have a friend that wants to sell their house. That's how it gets started, right? I do that for you guys. Go on and don't be a secret agent. Don't wait until you've got the license. You're missing an opportunity. Every time you're in this classroom, you'd be like taking pictures of yourself with the book and the, right? Like, here I am getting ready, right? Because you don't know what your friend's mindset is out there. Or maybe it's not your friends, but their parents or their friends when they make a comment, right? Social media is like, you guys are too young, but you know, Tula, you probably remember the Breck hair. And she told two friends, and she told two friends, and she told two friends, right? It's exponential the way social media works. That's where your business is going to come from, right? Now, the reality is the way we get paid, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to introduce you now to the multiple listing service, and I'm going to sort of make you feel a little bit better. And then I'm going to give you sort of another way to make you feel better. So I'm going to get out of this.
I have a question with the MLS.
Yes.
Is the MLS something that only realtors and agents get to see, or does like people who are in the market looking for housing get to see the houses going on?
We pay for it. And nobody else gets to pay for it. You have to have a real estate license and you have to pay dues. If you don't pay your dues, not only do you get in trouble, but your broker gets in trouble.
No, but you can look at houses on MLS. I mean, some, you know.
Not on the MLS.
As regular people.
Connecticut Realtor?
Yeah, you're going on realtor.com. You can, any website that subscribes to the IDX, this will be on the test, IDX. IDOX. It's the Internet Data Exchange. So any broker, all the brokers, Coldwell Banker, realtor.com, Zillow, Yahoo Homes, you know, Berkshire Hathaway, everybody subscribes to what's called the IDX, Internet Data Exchange. So that means when we list properties, we enter them into the multiple listing service. From there, they spray out to all of these sites so that the public can see them. So you can go on to these other sites and see them. Okay?
So actually, it's a meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, consistent to like, you'll see like the MLS number when you're, you know, let's say you're
Correct.
looking on Zillow or
But they're not
Realtors.
accurate because they're not real time. Most of the time, they're not real time because, and we're not there yet, but they don't update as frequently. MLS is real time and they don't reflect. Think of it like this. Has anybody ever worked in a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
right? A spreadsheet? Have you ever tried to export data from one spreadsheet to another spreadsheet using a different program?
All the time, with the Android and iPhone.
Okay, and so what happens? You have to sort of match up your headings.
You have to fix the format so that the layout.
You have to fix the format. Okay, so the data that transfers from the MLS is going to thousands of different platforms that's not on the receiving end to fix it. So sometimes it's coming in, it's not matching up. Right?
Yeah.
And so for the homeowner, that's a disservice because they're like, that's not right. And as the listing agent, we have no control over somebody else's website. I can't control that. I entered it correctly in the multiple listing service,
It's not changed.
but I can't fix it over on Coldwell's website or on, you know. we'll get into it. We will get into that. So, but good question. So hold that thought. All right, so let me, first of all, rewind just a bit. Remember I said how to get a license. This is my website, kadimaeducation.com. When you go to how to get a license, if you scroll down, now, this is the application. I said there's a fillable one, but if you just keep going, if you go to DCP, nope. Oh, I want that, sorry. Help if I click on the right link. Here's the PSI booklet. There's test prep here to help you.
And you have access to that for free?
Yes, this is see this little button, see this little camera right here?
Yeah.
This is where you want to go to register. You want to create an account. Only after I mean, you could create an account now. But this is where you're going to go to register to take the application.
We got ways to go.
Yep. Okay, but this is where you're going to go to do that. So I'm just showing it to you now. I'll remind you many times. Okay. Okay. So this is the MLS. This is what we pay big bucks for. So what I want to show you, so look, my dues are due. Mine are more because I'm a broker. I pay more as a broker. Mine come out automatically. They just haven't pulled them out yet.
Oh, your MLS dues.
My MLS dues, yeah. So remember I said we pay them in April and October? It's April. Mine will come out automatically, but mine are $357.37 because I am a broker, so mine
Do
costs me.
you still practice?
Yeah, so I don't compete with my agents, but I list. So what I do is as a team leader, I go out to get listings so that my agents have, and then they get the buyers most of the time. So, yep. Okay. All right. So I just want to show this to you. And we're not going to get lost in this right now because I will start pretty much every class. When we come in next Saturday, we're going to do a market thing, but yeah. Well, actually, I might as well do it today because we've got time. All right. So pick a town for me.
New London.
Okay. All right. So today, in the last 24 hours, you guys see this okay? Oh, Des, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see the MLS?
Yes.
I can make it bigger. Is that better?
Mhm.
All right, let's see. In New
And
London.
all the houses right now on the market for sale?
No, these are just the houses that came on the market in the last 24 hours
Really? For sale?
for sale. So the only thing that came on in New London in the last 24 hours was a rental. So let me go back.
There's not even that many options on Zillow. If you Zillow houses in London right now, you get like nothing.
No,
Well,
like that.
So let's do.
Mystic, what, you know, whatever.
Well, all right. So we're gonna have a conversation. Hold on a second. You guys hold those thoughts. Hold those thoughts for 1 second. I'm just gonna pull a house in New London really quick. All right. So I just want to show you how you're gonna make money really quick. All right. So right now there are 11 properties active in New London. I know. Let's see. Let's pick. We're gonna go with this one because it's
Beautiful.
pretty. I know, I love this house. All right, so 450,000. That's about the average. Come over. Yeah, that's about the average right now. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Where is my host tools? Let's see if I can. So. All right. All right, let me beep, beep, beep. I don't want a whiteboard. I do, however, want.
You know, with that said, $1 million house isn't what it used to be anymore.
No.
$1 million house used to be like a thing, like, oh, I have $1 million mansion.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
No,
a
you're
mansion.
right, not anymore.
Right, like $1 million is
A
not.
$1 million house now looks like something on Plant Street.
Yeah.
No,
Those are
no,
nice, it's a nice neighborhood,
No,
but
but I mean,
$1 million,
yeah.
right, yeah, 4 bedroom.
And I remember,
Yeah.
geez, like 20 years ago, I have a friend, she lives in like Cambridge, Massachusetts. They were
Yeah.
trying to be through the roof then.
Where's my annotation?
Realtor. And it was
Not
like,
giving my,
at the time, she was like, the houses across the street, like her family owned this big, huge, like apartment complex.
it's not letting me do annotation. Why not? All right. So I need you guys to follow along with me because it's not gonna let me do this
You
on.
need the right color?
Yep. All right. So here's an exercise, guys. Get ready. Oh, here we go. I just found it. Found it. All right, here we go. Annotate. I need text. Give me a text box. All right, can you see my text box?
Yes.
Okay. So that house, what did I say? It's listed at 450,000. Okay. Without getting into a huge debate over this, because we will have an entire class devoted to commission. Let's pretend that you are a buyer's agent. Okay. As a buyer's agent, you choose what you want to charge your buyers. Okay. The seller may or may not also decide if they want to offer anything to neutralize some of that fee. Okay. We will have conversations about this, but I don't want to do it now because we could go down that rabbit hole and it could go for a long time. But let's just say that it ends up that your fee that you're going to get for selling this house is 2.5%. Okay. Let's say, so at 450,000 times 0.025 is how you would do that calculation. The commission on the sale of this property is you do 450,000 times 0.025 is how that would look on your calculator. Okay. 11,250 is the commission on that house. Do you get to keep that? How much of that do you, yeah?
Oh, you have to give that to the broker and then the broker breaks it off for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So first of
The
all,
broker.
all commission is always paid to the broker. Always. It's never made out to you. That's why you are affiliated with a broker, because you're not a broker. You're a salesperson. When you affiliate with your broker,
Can you help me? I'm not getting that all. Like, I'm not getting that.
so 450,000 times 0.025.
Okay.
Got it? Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Nope. No problem. And you guys can screenshot this, whatever. We're going to do lots of these. Okay. So you're going to negotiate probably not much in the very beginning. Bottom line is, as a brand new agent, you are probably going to start out at a 50-50 split.
Mm.
That's right. So 11,250 divided by 2 is what? 125, right?
Correct.
5,125. Okay, now, depending on the brokerage that you join, I will tell you, some of the brands, Ravis, Coldwell, Berkshire, they have administrative fees. So you may have something like 6% that comes off the top, processing fees, things like that. So there, that 5125 might be adjusted. Also remember, there's no taxes taken out of that.
So you have your 1099.
Your 1099, make sure to account for that. But what did we say before about all in to like get started to sell a house? About $3 grand.
Mhm.
So if you were a restaurant owner, Des, or starting a business, right? And the expense, right? If you were doing a P&L, a profit and loss statement, right? Yeah, you're going in at a loss of 3,000 to start your business, which by the way, every single one of those expenses is a write-off because you're a 1099 employee. Now you're up 5125, you're profiting, right? So that's the good news, right? The trick is it's not like it's coming in every single week. It's not
Right.
coming in every other week.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes a minute for, you know, it takes a minute for a deal. It's not like you sell a house. Oh, Chris. Mute myself. Hold on a second. I have signs in my,
Yourself, open in the text box.
oh, I did. I know. Chris. That's okay. I'll get them out. They're gonna be here for a minute. I can tell. I have open house signs in my car that he needs. Okay. Yeah, so like that's how we get paid, right? Now, I will always say to somebody, if being able to do this and sustain, if you don't have a buffer to be able to do this and go periods of time without income, don't quit your day job or your night job. I mean, the ideal job is a night job or a second shift job where you could do this during the day and have the flexibility. It's very difficult to do real estate part-time. But I will say, and I say this all the time, and you'll hear me talk about mindset. I believe that part-time is a mindset, right? Like it's a mindset. If you work a job full-time, but you're committed to this with a full-time mindset, then you find the hours to do it. That being said, depending on the office, depending on training, depending on your availability, what you have to remember is, yeah, most likely you're going to be showing houses when people want to see houses, which is when they get out of work.
I
Yeah.
was thinking that.
In the evenings, right, in the evenings and on the weekends.
Yeah.
But your home inspectors, your lenders, your attorneys,
Those are all daytime.
they work during the day. Right? Right. They work during the day. And are you doing your real estate job from your other job? And are you stealing time from that company? So when I started real estate, I was a bank manager. I was working for a corporate bank. I was working for Navy Federal Credit Union, corporate trainer, traveling. Yeah, loved Navy Fed. That was my dream job. And I ended up at the Coast Guard Academy. I trained all those cadets. I loved that job. And then I got my real estate license. And I was like, oh, and I was like in my office on the MLS looking for properties and doing property searches. And I was like, I can't be doing this at my job. We didn't have laptops back then.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Our contracts were paper contracts, 5 parts. Yeah, times have changed. Yeah, it's amazing what happens in 20 years,
Yeah.
how fast technology changes. Okay, so I'm gonna give you
You're
this.
able to do-
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you this one last little cool piece of information
Now I
that
have a
most
question.
most people don't think about and don't realize, okay? That this is an option. There is something called referral,
Yeah.
okay? Where you can't sell, but you can make money. You don't pay dues, you don't have access to the MLS, but you have a real estate license. And you affiliate with a broker, but then all those people that know you, like you, trust you, that want to buy and sell, you refer them in to an agent in the office. And when they buy and sell, you get a referral fee. And some people choose to do that temporarily until they find themselves in a better situation. Just means that you don't have this, which is what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants access to see the pretty houses.
You get all the details about them,
Yeah,
Right, like you said, this is
But I have a
real, this
question.
is real time.
yeah.
This is
Yeah.
not, because I know what you're saying from my sister, like, and speaking to what you said about how you put information in and then it's not there. It was like, well, I put it in, but it didn't, disseminate
right,
to the certain website, so.
Right.
Zillow or whatever the heck, and it's like, well, where is it? Put
Yeah.
that change in, but the things don't change.
right.
Yeah, so that's pretty aggravating.
So you
All
said
right.
The average selling price is $450,000, right?
In this, well, let me show you. Let me just show you a little something.
Well, my question is, because that's expensive for our average family, so where would they have to fall into like the
So it-
salary bracket?
So it depends on where you are. So, okay, so very good question. So we're gonna end this class with this, okay? So before we jump into that, let me just,
I think you're going ahead.
yeah, no, it's okay. Great questions. All right,
Listen, if y'all have a $450,000 house you're trying to sell, and you don't have many people who can afford that.
Yep.
So now you need to be smart about the type of people, well, you might, sorry, I'm younger, so even on my age bracket, a $450,000 house, I mean, that's like $100,000 salary, if you can put that. And if you're alone buying this house, you still can't put that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
all right. So here's what we're gonna do. I am going to do some housekeeping with you guys. So I didn't scare you away.
Almost.
No, we paid.
You're staying.
I changed seats. Gotta get closer.
She got closer. She's staying. She's not going anywhere. Des, you okay?
I'm okay.
Good. Des is like, you guys are crazy. You're gonna wanna come in person.
Yeah.
Not you. I love her anyway. I love my little Desi.
You can learn a lot from your husband, he's the.
Mm-hmm.
the powerhouse.
So, all right, so we're gonna do a little housekeeping and then we're gonna do a little, how's the market? We're gonna play in the MLS for a little bit. Okay, housekeeping. So just back over here. Come on. Oh my gosh, stop with the annotation. I couldn't find it and now I can't make it go away. Like, stop with it already. Cancel. All right, this is what I need. There we go. Get over there. All right. Des, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, did you all log into the classroom? Did you get the invitation for the
Yes.
classroom?
Yeah, I just like clicked on it and went to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, I was like, is it?
Yep, all right.
I'm not missing-
Yep.
And then I just said hi.
Okay.
I said, say
Yep.
hi. I said hi.
Hi, good, all right. So this is a place for you guys to be able to sort of communicate with each other, right? So like class 1, this is what we're doing. Okay, I don't grade anything in here, but this is gonna help you know what you need to read for the next class. So homework is you are going to read chapters 1 and 2, and M is the modern text.
Okay, now, where is this? Okay, I clicked on the classroom. I'm in principles and practices.
Go to classwork.
Okay, classwork.
If you want, I also put the link. I can print this for
Okay,
you.
Class one.
You just said hi to her. See it, right?
Yeah, no, I said that was yesterday, yeah, which it was like, you know, it said to log in, I said, how am I supposed to log in? Okay. so-
If you prefer, I can print this out for you guys.
Oh, here it
if this is
Okay,
easier.
class- Oh, yeah, I'll take a printout too, I like having paper.
Yep, some people are paper people. I will print for you. Anybody else want it printed? No? Okay.
You're gonna give us a PSI booklet?
So the PSI booklet is there if you want it. I uploaded it. If you want a printed
Do you
copy,
know the secret about the book?
there's a secret.
Yeah, well, in Georgia, they told me, it tells you how many questions are in
Oh, yeah.
the sections.
Oh, yeah,
The questions are how many questions are in those
Yeah.
sections, and it gives you like.
all the
rundown.
practice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have to give it to us, I'm like, that's great.
Oh, yeah, we go through it.
Go through it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I have a question, it says read chapters 1 and 2, in what book?
The M. So M
Oh.
is the modern text.
Oh, okay.
See?
Oh, okay, it says read and, chapter.
So down at the bottom, see what it says M is the modern real estate practice textbook. C is the Connecticut real estate practice and law textbook. I'm printing it for you, so you see it.
Yeah.
It's on here. If you look up here, yeah. So M is modern, because that's the name of
Yeah,
the
that makes
textbook.
sense.
C is Connecticut. Hey, Bill.
Or
It's okay. Is it?
That's a man thing.
That's because we've been sitting.
I know, we're freezing. Okay, so there's that. Okay. Also in here is the PSI booklet. So I can print it for you if you want it,
Yeah.
or
I'll take it.
you can just go in. Yep.
So that way, because studying in a big book like this is very, very hard and challenging. So once you have this guide, it kind of helps you focus on focusing.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to memorize, I don't even know how many words is in this book.
Yep.
There's a lot of work.
Listen, that test is hard, so I try to find every single way.
All right. Now, I teach from here. Now, some people find they prefer this better.
Oh, okay.
This is the ebook. Some people like both. Some people like to be able to write in their textbook, but they like the convenience of having to not carry the book with them and be able to just be in the book. So, but when I lecture, what's nice about this is it's interactive. So there's videos. This guy, I love him, love his ties. You can highlight in the book. You can make notes. You can make flashcards.
Do we have access to this website, bookshelf?
No, so this is, so well, yes, you have a choice. Physical books, ebooks. This is the ebook. If you want the ebooks and the physical books, you would have to buy a set of the ebooks.
I'm good with the physical books.
It says create flashcards. You don't get that with a regular book.
Yep, you could make a flashcard.
You can do all your vocabulary, you can do all your scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's tough. That's nice. That's a nice feature.
It's a nice feature. Some people like it because
Well, if it changed your mind,
Always
right?
adds up to big business simple
It's
and
free.
complex transactions that together involve trillions of dollars each year in the
If you want, it's $100 for another set.
$2? Can't you like a fair trade?
You could trade those for, yeah, you could give those back and I'll just give you codes.
I need it.
You could think about it. Yep. You
That's
can
always important.
change-
Because it reads
You
you,
can
like-
change, you can change your highlighters. Like you can say, I need to make my highlighter mean this. You can change your display. You can change the size. So there's definitely, yeah, you can have it read to you. I don't know, Des, if you can change the language, like the read aloud settings, voice.
No.
Yeah, it's just English. Yeah, I was hoping.
Which sounds like a pretty good lawsuit to me. Not inclusive.
Yeah.
But I was reading it. I understand.
Okay.
A little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
If
she's from
not, I
Peru.
use the translation.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, I was reading the Unit 1 of Modern Real Estate. I finished it already, and I just
Really?
mentioned, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
study. So Des, I don't know if you just heard this or not, but Selena is Spanish.
Oh, that's cool.
So she said if you guys want to have a study group, and Brittany too.
Oh yeah,
So, yes, see,
yeah. Yes, please.
okay. There you go. Thank you. I think, and all of my classes do end up having study groups together. I actually have pictures of them. They warm my heart. They get together and they do study groups to prepare for the final. I think I'm a good teacher, but I think it's the study groups and you guys all getting together that really pushes you, that gets you through
Crank the
to,
numbers.
yeah. Yep,
And it gives you
absolutely,
different understandings, like the way you might understand something or the way you look at it might help me later.
right. Like I want to bring in, hold on a second. I'm gonna bring in, hold on. I got two past students right there. I'm gonna make these guys come in. Hold on.
Okay.
No, that's not really hard. That's just my, like, you're really kicking my butt. I paid for so many things to help me pass it. I paid for this thing called prep agent. I paid for like, crash courses. I paid for so many things to try to pass that test. Five is good. I literally was up there and I hired almost double digits, like 8 or 9 times to take that test. So I started trying to like listen to it on my way on YouTube video, listen to it on my way to the testing site.
All right, so those guys are gonna come in. So I just wanted to show you the ebooks. So now that we've done that, all right, Des, you still see everything, right? Now
No,
let's play.
Heather, I'm just seeing the MLS.
Oh, good. Well, that's what I want you to see.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, there's the MLS. Okay, so, what do you think as realtors, people ask us more than anything else?
How long have you been a realtor? No. Oh, your commission. How much is your commission? No?
Or, you know, how much should I offer? How much
Well,
should
just
I
in
offer?
general, how about
Yeah.
how's the market?
Oh. Okay.
How's the market? You guys are like, oh, no, that's just. I get it. They do ask us those things. Those are all great, but most frequently they say, how's the market? Right? And then they tell us how the market is, right? So I was sitting here, I was listening to you guys. So let me ask you, how's the market? How's the market?
Market is, it's active, I mean, it's a buy, I think it's a seller's market,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. That's a seller's market.
yeah.
Okay,
And it seems like, anything that's, halfway decent price, it goes like this.
okay,
It goes like this, it's going to best and highest. you know?
okay, okay,
Yeah, it's very competitive,
Okay.
very competitive market.
okay.
Yeah, it's like, if you see something you like, you better jump on it, because somebody else is gonna grab it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Steph?
I think the market is tight. I think the market is a little expensive. for
Okay,
sure.
expensive.
Cause you also see some houses that would originally be like 200,000 for 400,000.
Yeah. that's like-
Okay.
And I think that's a little bit.
Yeah.
like, But I
Originally,
don't wanna pay top dollar for something that's not in top condition. So-
top dollar. So originally from when?
Or what do you mean originally?
Well, you say that was 200, that's 400 now.
Me and my boyfriend were looking at a house on Connecticut Avenue in London.
Mhm.
Connecticut Avenue is the main street.
Yep, I know exactly where it is.
It's the main street,
Yep, I know
right?
exactly where it
Keep
is.
going further down into the dead end side of it, it goes into a lesser desirable area called West Point.
Yep, I know where that is.
Those houses are $400,000. Back in the day, those were $175,000
Yeah, I know.
houses.
Mhm.
That's absurd of like a difference, like
Mhm.
maybe 250, I'll even give you 300, but $400,000 for that house? is
Yeah,
not
West
happening.
Point, yeah.
Cause you're next to a less desirable area, but because your mile radius in London is not that crazy, a mile away from that street is what? Now you're getting towards Montauk and Ocean.
Yeah.
Those houses are going for 400, 500. So some people think, well, a mile radius, and it's like, honey, not for your location, not for your house.
Mhm.
So as a buyer, it's like, wow, like this would be a house I could afford 2 years ago, and now it's like, I can't even.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
awesome. All right, so we're gonna talk about that. So do you know what do you know why? One of the reasons why people buy houses?
it's their investment, people from growing up, cause my parents aren't from this country. So when they bought their first house, it's first of all, you're placed in this country, then you have an ownership sensibility thing going on. It
Mhm.
shows your place in community where you stand.
Yeah.
You're a homeowner, you're not an apartment renter.
Right.
There's like,
Yeah, for different reasons. And
Yeah.
Also, it's the American dream, have your
Right.
own home, and, you're not paying condo fees, a lot of
Right.
condo fees are so
HOAs
high.
are crazy.
Yeah, high.
Yeah.
People like, I don't wanna be in a situation where they're gonna make an assessment later.
Yep,
And I don't really like hearing people on top of me or to the side of me. People want their own space. It's
Yeah.
still the American dream, have your own home, your own yard.
so do you
Yeah.
do you have any idea, like for investment, do you know what the average healthy market appreciation for a house is?
10% every year.
No, that would be fabulous.
Sorry, I've been listening to those people on podcasts.
And they say 10%,
Yeah, I think it was 10%, because then my next guess was 3%.
2%.
Okay, so maybe it was 3%.
Normal, right, a normal market is 2% year over year. Like in a normal housing market, we would say if you buy a house now, you can expect to see about 2% appreciation year over year. Not bad, right? So it's a long term, right? And markets dip, right? So when people say to us, how's the market? The best way to respond is, first of all, that's a hard answer, right? Because there is no such thing as a national weather forecast, is there? Right? Like real estate is very, very localized, right? Like there can be a national sort of real estate market analysis, but when you're talking something that broad, right, you're gonna get, it's not gonna be specific to a house. It's not going to be specific to a price point. It's not going to be specific to a neighborhood, right? So it's not going to be specific to a region. So when somebody says to us, how's the market? Typically, they are asking because people always are thinking about themselves. Is that safe to say? Safe to assume that if they say, how's the market? They're wondering, I wonder what my house is worth, or I wonder if I wanted to buy a house, what would it cost me to buy a house? Or I wonder what's going on in my neighborhood. They're probably thinking hyper local, right? So if I don't know where they're coming from, how can I answer that question, right? So if I say, oh, you know what, it's a seller's market, things are moving really fast, we're in a multiple offer market, but let's just say that person happens to be from Sprague. Okay? I'm picking a town called Sprague in Connecticut. Have you ever heard of Sprague?
Where is it?
Very good.
Is it in the state?
It is in the state of Connecticut. I'm just making up a town. So let's say they say to me, how's the market? Because they live in Sprague. Oh, come on in, guys. Hi. I just wanted Chris and Bobby to come in and say hello to you guys. So Chris and Bobby took my class. Hey, Des. Here, I'm gonna turn. Oh, no. Can you see them? Does she? Oh, no. Yeah, here. Oh, my. Hey, she does the boys. I don't know if you can see them. She does. Can you see the boys?
Yes. Hi,
Okay.
Bobby.
Both Chris and Bobby took my class in September. Yeah, so, I asked them to just pop in and, cause they were, yeah, nice pen, huh? They were one of the groups that formed study groups and did tremendous on their exam. So I asked them to come in and just talk about what that was like for them. Do you guys mind just
Yeah,
sharing your experience?
I mean, it's tough to motivate yourself to study because there's a lot of information. So like having other people accountable, like to hold you accountable and like say, we're meeting here, let's go, come on, even when you don't want to, like go to the gym by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of information. Having 3 minds, 4 minds, just studying together, I wouldn't have passed if I did. I really
Was the
wouldn't.
test hard, like the actual state exam?
This class prepares you really well for it. Yep, so if you're going through the book, if you're paying attention, take notes, take all the notes you can, you know, and when you're going through the practice tests in the books, you can refer to those notes and be like, oh yeah, yep. But his notes were different than mine, so if we're sitting down together, his notes would tell me the answer on something I missed or, you know.
There's like 2 or 3 right answers, and you
Yeah.
wanna choose the number 1 right answer. So that's why collectively we would like go back and forth with which answers are the best. That's my conclusion with the study groups. We had all different answers sometimes, and we came up with the best answer together. That's.
Because they try to trick you with the questions, you know, with your knowledge. So you'll look at the first one, you're like, oh, that's it, but if you look at them all, read the question, look at them all.
You have to pick the first answer and the first best answer, right?
So you gotta pick the only
Because
right
you'll be
answer.
like-
One will look like it, one will sound like it,
Right. But
but
like, what do you need to be a real estate agent? Of like, you have to be 18 years old, you have to take a 60-hour class, you have to be licensed, and then you know, you have to be 18 years old. And like, well, I thought I had to take a class, but I thought things like that.
right,
Messed me up.
Like you
bad.
have to do all those things, but if you're not 18, none of the other things matter.
Yeah,
Right.
and you have to think like that. 'Cause
Yes.
Then you fail, because that
Right.
question got me a couple times.
Yeah.
so the books help, that is awesome. She'll prepare you guys, but form a study group, because I wouldn't have done it without it. Absolutely, if you guys live in the area, you know, get together.
Yeah, you guys could use the school as a place to study.
We met at Dunkin' Donuts, because the school wasn't finished yet, right?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were with
So we were
you.
just meeting at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, and we went through all the practice test questions and, yeah. Yep,
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. And now they're hustling. Bobby just had a huge closing.
And a lot of what she teaches, we apply directly to the field, so just
Really?
take it serious.
Are you guys with her broker? Are you
Yeah,
guys
we're-
licensed?
yeah,
Kadima?
so you're looking at your future.
Well, so, yeah, what's interesting is Brittany runs a construction company.
That's a very high-end way of putting it. I work for it.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, like,
I'm a construction manager, so I run projects.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm so impressed by that. I'm like, oh.
That knowledge is gonna help you tremendously.
I mean, I think in the field, though, in the test, I didn't find my knowledge to be helpful at all.
No, in the
Anything is
field, I mean.
contradictory, yeah.
In the field, absolutely in the field, you don't have the knowledge, it's Bill's specialty, you know,
Bill will want to talk to you.
yeah.
Bill
I
will
look
want,
forward to meeting Bill then.
Bill will want, he just digs the.
Yeah, he's the guy that's bleeding right now everywhere.
Is he bleeding?
Yeah, he just cuffed himself on the drill bit, he's doing the conduit,
Is he still here?
yeah.
Oh,
We
I'll
don't
have to
need
introduce you.
ambulance. We don't need him,
We'll introduce you when the class is over. But,
yeah, former study group, super helpful.
We were just
No.
talking about it, there's 4 of us, I think, maybe 5.
yeah, listen, somebody, but, yeah, nice. Yeah, no, Des wants to, we want to get Des into the study group. And you know, Chris will be like, "You get her." All right, we're going back to, hey guys, wait, trick question. Trick question,
Oh,
ready?
okay.
Ready? Watch this. Hey, how's the market?
You want me to answer that? Well, that's not very specific, so what town are we looking at, where are you looking to buy a home, you know? Because that's a general statement, the market, you know what I mean, where are you looking to buy a home?
Right.
Let's look at what it's doing in your area, let's figure it out together.
All right,
Where you guys been visiting?
I'll pay you later.
So.
All over Connecticut?
Yeah. But we're southeast, obviously we're on the coast,
Okay.
you know? Until Bill tells me it's too far, or Heather tells me it's too far.
I just went on a listing consultation with Zion in Ashford.
Oh, yeah, that's right, far.
Oh my God, cool house though. Oh my God, what a cool house. Would you see it?
So do you think you're gonna get it?
Yeah, she called on it for sale by owner. Zillow for sale by owner. And she got one signature. So
Yeah, dealing with the sell by owner is not fun. They
I
don't
should
get so
stop
fun.
recording.
Well, anyways, good luck.
I'll have to edit all this out. I'm gonna have to edit all this out of my recording, you guys. That's so funny. Yeah,
That was,
my trunk is open. Yes.
how was the market? Looking by.
Right. Because there are markets within markets within markets. So for example, forget about spraying, but let's just say somebody said to me, you know, I'm in East Lyme. Okay, but are you, you know, if you wanted to know how's the market in East Lyme, well, that depends, right? If you are a first-time home buyer and you're looking for something under 300,000, that could be a very different answer than if you are, you know, a move-up buyer and you're looking for an $800,000 house, or if you're looking for waterfront. Well, what kind of water? Do you want Lake Patagonia? Or do you want, you know, do you want Crescent Beach? Do you want Old Black Point? Like very different pricing. Do you want Black Point? Do you want Black Point before the gate or beyond the gate? Those are things that realtors know the difference. Very, very, very different pricing. If you say, how's the market, right? So my job is to know what's happening all the time. So here's what I do. And this is what we're gonna do, you guys. So every week we're gonna look at this. So I do this every single day. All right, so I go back, you guys can see this, right? So this is what I call, this is my market activity. So this is customized for me so that I'm really only paying attention to the towns that my agents are selling in. Now I'm gonna have to add Ashford because Zion went and had me out up that way, but I'm looking at the shoreline all the way from like Branford to Pawcatuck, and then pushing inward up to like Griswold and Colchester and across to like Haddam, and then over the river to Deep River, Killingworth, and that way. So I'm covering a pretty broad area. If I needed to watch any area specifically, I could create what I call a hot sheet. But on a given day, I want to know what's coming on, what's going off, what's being reduced. Okay,
This is your dashboard,
this is my
and you
dashboard.
get that when you pay your 212 every month?
Every
6 months?
Yes, this is my dashboard. So I come in every single day. And so now I know in those towns that I look at, there are 10 properties that are coming soon. So these haven't hit the market yet. I can see them, right? But they're not available to show yet. So there's one in Clinton, 2 in East Hampton. We got 2 coming on in East Lyme, right? One for 485, one for 750. So my sort of under $500,000 buyer might be interested, but you know, my under $300,000 buyer is,
Right.
these are not going to apply. So I would not be like, oh, 2 houses came on in East Lyme today, if this was a first time home buyer looking under 300.
Good question. How do they know they're coming up?
Because we enter them into the system. They've
Oh.
been listed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Montville, Old Saybrook, Plainfield, Wyndham,
I
right?
have a question. I heard selling condos was different than selling houses. Is that a true statement? Like, as the realtor, the process is different, the commissions are different.
No.
Because you have different, like,
Nope, we're gonna talk about condos too. Okay, so I know that we have, and then we can look at them even bigger, right? It's the same properties. It's just a different way to look at it. So this is just since yesterday, since I looked at it in my towns. So, and then they go from coming soon to new. So once they're active, so some of the coming soons that I may have looked at a few days ago are now moved into the new listings. So there's 64 properties that have gone active in the last 24 hours. Okay. So I want you to think about that for a second. In the last 24 hours, 64 properties have come on the market. Now, only in the areas I'm paying attention to,
Right.
okay? One of them was in Canterbury, one was in Chester, Clinton, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 in Clinton. So if you're looking in Clinton, 5 properties in the last 24 hours. 1 in Colchester, 2 in Deep River, 2 in Durham, East Haddam, East Hampton, lots going on. 3 in East Lyme. High-end properties. Okay? High-end. Okay? So again, I'm in East Lyme. I pay attention to the East Lyme market. I used to be the regional manager for Sotheby's, so watching luxury was a big thing.
They have Sotheby's here
Mhm.
in Connecticut.
Yeah,
They have a really strict, like, requirement. They told me in Atlanta I had to quit my job. I had to be with them for 6 months solely for them to.
I wouldn't hire new to business agents when I was there.
Yeah, that's what they told me. You have to be here 6 months. I'm sorry, I'll talk about 6
Okay.
months with no pay, nothing, like solely dedicated to us. And at the time I was like, listen, I still gotta pay rent. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, yep.
But yeah.
All right, Essex, Griswold, Groton, Haddam, Ledyard, lots in Ledyard,
If
right?
they don't hire new agents, then what does that mean? How long do you have to be an agency and work for Sotheby's?
So for me, my requirement was you had to sell, at least $2 million in volume before I would think about, I went, yeah, I would just watch people, but it was about 2 million in volume before I would think about bringing somebody on.
Not for a beginner.
No, because there's
Not
no,
for a-
so again, when I started there, I was able to train people, but then I was running 3 offices and I didn't have the bandwidth to train. It's not there's great support there, but you need to be able to go in and run a business. It's not a,
Well, that's important to know, because like you said, it's your storefront. So, you know, you wanna be running and hitting the ground with the lower, well, not lower, everybody needs something, but you get
Mhm.
what I'm saying, where so
Mhm.
they speak for themselves.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's incredible training there, but it's not to help somebody start a brand new business. If you've got a business, it's a great place to grow your business, but it is not for a brand new agent. So Old Lyme, so what I'm seeing is the high end, so we're spring market right now. So the high end is starting to pop right now. Why? Because it's the time of year, right? It's the time of year. This is the time of year that these homes, stuff is starting to bloom. They look good. People are ready to be on the water. So that market is starting to pop. So I look at what's coming on, but here's the number that I start paying attention to. And we'll notice, we're going to pay attention to this in a week. So 64 came on. Now, when you talk about the demand, you said to me, it's an active seller's market. Okay. Now, we had 64 new listings. We had 13 go under contract in the last 24 hours.
That's amazing.
If I add them to the continue to show and the under contract, but there's always a little bit of an overlap. But even if I added it together, 29, we still had way more inventory come on than go off, which is contradictory to what you said.
Well, yes
So-
and no, because like you said earlier in the class, I mean, for someone to buy a house, it's a stressful time in their life. It's not an easy decision because it's a big money purchase. I mean, this isn't something like you just go in a house and go, okay, great, where do I sign? You know, that just doesn't happen. And then you're on the phone constantly with these people, questions and back and forth. It's not like it's not something that happens overnight.
No, I understand that, but when you say seller's market, so we've been driven for the last 5 years by these numbers were flipped. For every property that came on the market, 4 went off.
That's good.
Wow, that's bad. Yeah,
No,
that's
we
great.
had no inventory,
Oh, you had no inventory to sell.
no inventory to sell
When was this?
in the last 5 years,
Really?
Yeah, with
from the
pandemic.
time of the pandemic.
Helped a lot. Their mortgages. don't help
So
them.
we had so much inventory, we were in a buyer's market, right? So our absorption rate was like
That's amazing.
6 months to a year. Now, what happened was the pandemic hit, all of that inventory got gobbled up, right? So for every 2 houses that came on, 3 went off the market, right? So now it's starting to teeter. So now we're starting to build up inventory. So our absorption rate, which is how much inventory could the market sustain, right? We're getting closer to like 60, maybe 90 days. Still not terrific, but it starts to balance itself out. So what I start to look at, so our job is to be experts. When someone says, how's the market? I say, well, you know what? There's a lot of inventory coming on, you know, and at a glance, I say, you know, of that inventory, lots of high end, right? So on the high end, you know, on the low end, we've got, of all of that, I can tell by looking at this, only 4 of those were rentals, right? So we have an $89,000
House.
mobile home. It's a mobile home.
You can sell a mobile home, how you sell a house?
Yeah.
I thought mobile homes were a D&B process. That's not like selling a house.
So they're personal property. Well, actually,
It's a
that's
village
not even,
versus-
actually, that's a cottage. It's not even a mobile home. No, that's a cottage.
I heard different. I heard
So,
it was
so mobile homes are considered personal property,
like bill of sale.
but some mortgage companies will do a loan for them. So it depends.
That's tricky.
This is actually a cottage. What for cottage?
That's cute. It's like.
Very cute for $89,000.
Where?
Very.
Ledger.
In London?
Ledger. Ledger.
Okay.
Yep, very cute.
Oh,
Somebody little
long
star
pond,
girl.
long pond.
It's like, 1-1, that means, a single person or.
Yep. And then on the high end, the highest I think was 4 million, right? Yeah,
What's mortgage on a $4 million home? 4,000 or like 10,000?
depends on what you put down.
financial.
Most people aren't putting a mortgage on 4 million though.
What did you say? You said most people are not putting a mortgage on 4 million?
Yeah, that's usually cash.
That's the cash. That's a cash deal? Do you
You
hear
either-
this?
you
I'm
either-
like,
No, you
so
either
you
got
got
it or
$4
you
million
don't.
cash?
Yeah,
That
usually,
is amazing.
yeah,
You
for,
can either
that's,
afford it.
it's,
You know,
it's,
first of all, how do you get $4 million out of the bank cash? That's not even paper. That's like, they give you a certificate, right? And they're like, here's $4 million.
it's a wire. It's a wire transfer. It would be a wire transfer.
Okay.
All right, so, all right, now here's the other thing. Here's the other thing we're gonna pay attention to, and this is a big one, right? We wanna see what closes, because the real data, I'm a big data girl, okay? You can put a house on the market for any number you want. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, right? What I want to see is how long does it take to sell? And does it sell at list price, below list price, or above list price? Because that's going to be the facts. That's going to be the information that people want to know from me. And that's going to help me know when I'm helping a buyer what to offer. And it's going to help me know when I'm listing a house, what to list it for. So that's where I go in and I start looking at my closed properties. So the first thing I want to see is what has closed and what were the days on market. So I sort by days on market, and I want to see, I'm going to sort by, so we're still closing properties that were on the market for 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days. Then we get to like 22 days, right? Now, I tend to know, because I've seen it, that the closer you get to 3 weeks, time on market erodes equity. Now we're starting to get a little farther out than that. But buyers are pretty savvy. And if there aren't multiple offers out of the gate, if a home's been on the market 3 weeks or longer, they're not coming in at full price. That's what we're seeing. So let's see if I'm right. Now, sometimes if it could just be something else, but here's land, list price, LP. Can you guys see this? Let me make it bigger.
It's a little bit bigger.
Make it a little bit bigger for you. It's really, you guys
There
see
you
that?
go.
List price is the top number, closed price is the bottom number. So it listed for 100, closed for 115.
Mhm.
Listed for 299.9, closed for 315.
Oh, no, so you got an extra.
LN/RN.
Land
Oh.
residential.
Land res-
This is single family. This is a rental, single family.
Okay.
This is a 2-family, listed for 370, closed for 405.
These have-
Where are we? Yeah, I gotta zoom out. I think
Okay.
so. Yep. 265, closed for 305.
So you're getting way over, like, what is it, what, 30% over?
689, closed for 710. Here's another rental. 4-family, 2-family. So the multifamilies are closing, obviously, right? People are buying multifamilies. You know who's buying multifamilies?
Okay.
First-time home buyers.
Yep, because you can't look for something like it.
First-time home buyers who aren't being successful, because look at, I want you to show it, see. 270,
Then they
299,
out the-
265, 370. Think about it. They can't afford a single family $450,000 house. But we can get them into a multi for 280, 300. Yes, they're living in an apartment, but they own it. They've got rental income,
Yeah,
the income from the rental counts towards their debt to income ratio. The only time ever in a person's life that you can buy an investment property as a first-time home buyer, right? A rental property is, as a first-time home buyer, is when you buy a multifamily. It's the only time. After that, if you buy an investment property and you're not a first-time home buyer, you're paying conventional and you're putting 30% down.
30? They told me 20%.
Not 25, 30%,
That's
depending on your
insane.
scores.
What do you mean conventional?
It's a
Conventional
loan
mortgage.
process.
It's a conventional mortgage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you're buying a second home,
Back before your 2 years of FHA, you have 2 years, right? If you wanna purchase something else before that 2 years is over, you'll be conventional. It'll be considered an investment home. And at that point, you are required for hard cash, 30% down.
so if you are on, you can only be a first-time home buyer if you're not on a mortgage. If
Okay,
you're not on a
Okay.
deed, if you're not on a deed, you could qualify as a first-time home buyer. Right?
okay.
And if you're a first-time home buyer, then you can go in at 3.5% down. You can get an FHA mortgage, right? There's grants that are available. So these are first-time home buyers and they're willing and they're qualified for more. This one, what a sweet deal. 4 family,
For 350,000.
350,000.
But that's Norwich. Norwich has a lot of those. I've been looking at the Norwich market.
Yep.
But what kind of people live, excuse me, what kind of work is in Norwich? That's what I wanna know. Like, can people who work in Norwich, like casinos and.
But that's not for us. So we gotta focus on the houses though, right? Yeah, yep. Okay, so 589, 600 rental. Okay, so now here we are, listed for 184, closed for 177, listed for 325, closed for 309. Where am I for days on market? 22 days. What'd I say? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, right? It drops.
Is that in London? Cedar Street?
Main Street's Norwich.
Look, 289, 265, 230. So as soon as, it doesn't matter, wherever we are, everything slightly, 812, 810. Just even if it's a tiny bit, everything that closed slightly lower. Deep River, Norwich, Deep River, Clinton, New London, Westbrook, it doesn't matter. Past that 21-day mark,
Right, so then you can.
everything
Come in lower, yeah, just like a car, like anything. right?
negotiates.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, well.
So
you know,
this is what I spend my time studying. And this is what we spend our time studying as agents, so that when we go out into the world and somebody asks us, and they say, how's the market? Well, you know what? Look, all I can tell you is in the last 7 days, 64 properties came on, 29 went off. And of the 24 that closed, right, if they were on the market for less than 20 days, they closed at or above list price. Anything that was on the market longer than that, they got a little less. Not a lot less. Nobody's going in with a low ball offer. That's not happening. If anybody thinks that they're gonna go in and get a deal, that is not happening.
Right, it's fair price, it's like what I call, I'd say, it's a
Cool.
fair price, it's not like great, like you said, it's not
Right.
low ball. Cause then no one needs to do that, cause there's too many
No.
people.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at this now next week,
I have
right?
a question.
So, but what will happen is, one second, when we go back and look at this next week, this is gonna change. So I'm only going back 24 hours for you guys. we're gonna go back 1 week. So you're gonna get a chance to see a snapshot of everything that's happening between today and next Saturday. Okay, so you'll be like, oh, okay.
Well, you already seen the difference when you went back last week. You had 187, that's double the properties that were on this thing.
Mhm.
Then you have 65 that are under contract, that's what, 13, 26. That's way more than 13
Mhm.
and 16, so yeah. You can already see
What's the difference between I mean, I get continue to show, but why are some that are under contract, they're not showing anymore?
Good question. So under contract continue to show is a contingency that the seller or the agent has decided that, you know, there's whether it's a mortgage contingency or inspection contingency, and they've decided that the seller has said, I want you to just keep showing the house.
So, okay, see if they have a more qualified buyer.
Well, so as long as there's an offer signed, so backup offers can always be accepted. It doesn't matter. You can take backup offers right up until closing. The key is you can't just bump any buyer out of their offer, right? That can't happen. You can show for backup and accept backup offers. They just sort of sit there on the sidelines. And if the original offer falls apart and there's a mutual agreement to release it, then the backup offers can step in.
Oh, okay.
So
It's easier the way she just said that, because I can remember that was a question for me, and that was not how it was written.
yeah, but you can't just, you know, or
Like, when is a contract void or something like that?
yeah. But the trick is if you say continue to show, then the house has to be available to show. Otherwise, the seller might say, no, I don't want to keep showing it. The agent, we're not required to keep showing the house after a contract is accepted,
Okay.
right? But if someone puts in a show request and it's continue to show, you need to be available to show the property, or the house has to be in show condition to be able to show them. Because when it's in the MLS and we say it's available to show, legally, it's supposed to be available for agents to be able to see it. So.
But I have a question about the things that's been on the market for 3 weeks plus. How, like, as an agent, how do you, like, where's the advantages in that? Do you look at those properties and see something, or you look at those properties and kind of just like, I want to focus on the properties?
So when we're looking for buyers and we look at everything. We look at those properties, we look at off MLS properties, we do everything for our buyers to find properties. Everything. So you know, again, when you agree to represent somebody to find them a home, if I have to go knock on people's doors, I will go knock on people's doors to find them a house. I tell my buyers, listen, drive by. If you see a house that you like, and that's your dream house, if you tell me, Heather, that is the house I have always wanted to live in my entire life, I will go knock on their door. What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. But you never know how somebody woke up that morning. They might have woken up that morning and been like, today's the day we sell everything and we move to the islands. And then I show up
Right.
and they go, oh my God, you must be a mind reader. And I go, why, yes, I am. I am the fairy godmother of real estate. How much do you want? Because I have a buyer that wants to buy your house. You don't know unless you ask. So, you know,
I think wholesaling thing got a bad name, that's why. They're knocking on people's doors.
So, again, I'm not here to teach you how to sell real estate. Remember that. So I got to keep us sort of, I know it gets very exciting though when we get into the MLS. So, but, all right, homework. So you need to read in the modern text, 1 and 2. Let me pull that stuff off the printer. Des,
Okay.
are you good, my dear?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No, just this is the book that I have to read, right?
That is the book. And you have the ebooks too.
Yes.
Yep, because Chris had me get you the ebooks also, so I sent that link.
Yeah.
I know. She's like, she needs it.
Thank
All
you.
right, sweetheart. All right, I am gonna stop the Zoom. I'm gonna stop recording. And I will see you next week.